Greetings wherever you are, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. This is a weekly success circle for solopreneurs, and we got together because we enjoy each other's company, and we like exchanging ideas and information and some experimentation as well. And for me, it's all about giving and receiving support. My name is Alana, and I've been in business since 1996, helping people get where they want to go. So just as a reminder, it's a good idea for us to remember our operating principles. We're all about relationships before business. We need to remember that business is built on relationships. So make building them your business. That's a quote from Scott Stratton. We stand for positive possibilities, and we keep an open mind, and we never sell anything we're not prepared to deliver impeccably. That was added by Sue Ferreira a number of, must be over a year ago now. And just a couple of technical reminders to keep our mics on mute unless we're about to speak. And that remember that somebody's phone is ringing. Whose phone is ringing? Yeah, so I guess that's the other piece. Remember to turn off your phone before you come on a hangout. All these little tiny pieces of things we have to remember. It's bizarre. Anyway, and as for our conversation, it is good for us to remember that the way Hangouts work is it's one voice at a time. So if we get really involved in the conversation and think we're going to dive in over what somebody else is saying, it just creates a big problem. So as Jay says, let's indicate when we would like to have the conch. I don't know how many of you remember what the conch is, but that comes from the Lord of the Flies, and that's years ago. So we will begin the way we usually do by introducing ourselves and saying where we are and what we do, and an opportunity to make any announcements or questions or things that have come up that are worthy of discussion. So, and usually what I try to do is begin with the first person who got here. So that would be you, Nathan.
I figured as much, yes. Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's been a while since I've been on here and actually able to sit here, hopefully without any major interruptions. So if you see me all the way through, it'll be a minor miracle from the last while. Anyway, my name's Nathan. I live in Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico. My business is called Done For You Publishing. And what I do is I take writers from zero to published author using the process of interviewing, as what one of my mentors called it, ghostwriting on steroids. So, and it is ghostwriting. I never thought about it until he told me, but it's a form of ghostwriting. But the idea is to get the person published very quickly, as opposed to taking months or years the old way of by doing it by hand. Anyway, that's it.
Right on. Good to have you back, Nathan.
Thanks, Lola. Nice to be back.
Yeah. So, Paul, you were the second one on. Good morning. Good morning in the hood. You gotta unmute yourself, Paul.
Yeah, I'm getting there. It's early, little lad.
Not early. It's 9 o'clock.
Okay, it's early somewhere. Anyway, hi, I'm Paul. My company's TTG International Management, and we try and take ideas and turn them into profitable actions. I'm in lovely Victoria, just down the block from Lowland. And today looks like it's shaping up to be another fine day on the left coast of North America. And good things that happened. I had the opportunity last night to attend a reception for Futurepreneurs, an organization I mentor with, and meet some new entrepreneurs that are starting their businesses. So that was quite exciting to listen to what they were up to.
Their presentations, right on.
Yeah.
Welcome here. You're always welcome here, Paul. And I got you beat. I was out and walking the park this morning at 6:30. So let's see who was next. I don't know whether Alana was here before Jay. I think you both kind of came in at the same time. So I think you're pointing the other. I'm pointing the other way. So Alana, have you got dinner on yet?
It's actually funny you say that because I decided to move to see if I got better reception. And I just went out to check my router, and my router seems to be working quite well, and I'm not having any issues, which is great. So I am in the kitchen, and so I'm going to be running back and forth, doing a little of this and a little of that. So anyway, my name is Alana. I'm over in Ireland, and I have 2 websites, Online Income and Resources and techietravelbits.com. One promotes internet marketing, and my other pet site is Techie Travel Gadgets. Checking it out. And yeah, I wish I could say it's nice here, but it's not. Cold and miserable autumn day.
Well, it is autumn. There's after all. And by the way, folks, I had my walking partner has been insisting all along that daylight saving time had been canceled. And this morning, as I was finishing my meditation, I remembered that I wanted to check that out. So I have to tell you a funny story. So I picked up my cell phone and I use the voice automation, and I'm not going to say the word because it'll put everything, bring everything alive. But I asked verbally Google to find out something about daylight saving time in BC, and up that popped. And by the way, it doesn't happen until November the 6th here. But then all of a sudden, my tablet, which was way over on the other side of the house, opened up and said, I'm not able to find anything on Google because you've got this in airplane mode. I thought I would die laughing. So I'm still wondering, I'm still pondering, how did my tablet answer if it was in airplane mode and wasn't able to access the internet? I don't know. Anyway. Oh dear, I love technology. It's such fun. So good morning, Jay. Last but not least.
Yeah, technology. One of these days we'll get used to it, right? Hi, my name is Jay, and my company is Magi Studios, and we help people get started in the world of online business through coaching, consulting, and training.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that. Oh, and I'm from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Well, out in Langford, it's sunny and 32 degrees.
Yeah, right.
And now I wanted to see, I wanted to ask Alana quickly, I want to test my culinary ear. Were you chopping carrots or some sort of hard leafy product?
You heard that?
Yeah.
Okay. I got busted big time. Yeah, I really got busted. I was cutting onions and mushrooms and peppers.
Okay, all right.
So we're having a stir fry for dinner tonight.
Oh, I thought because you said it was a cold, dreary Irish fall day, that you'd make like an Irish stew or something, right? Something warm and hearty.
You know, I have to tell you, I actually hate Irish stew.
Oh, don't say that. Your router will turn off.
I do. I absolutely hate it with a passion. I just favorite thing at all.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe it's because because of the person who actually prepares it.
Very good.
Lolan made a comment about a bit of a joke, and I heard one to do with Ireland, which is, how can you tell it's summer in Ireland? The rain is warm.
Yeah.
The rain is warm.
And that's all I have to say on that topic.
The crappiest summers here, I swear. The crappiest summers ever we have.
Sorry.
So now, did you know that the Knowledge Network here, which is for Alana's benefit, it's a British Columbia website and TV station, that it's a public station that's funded by donations and so forth. So they're doing a big fundraiser right now, and the winner, they're doing a draw for anybody who donates, and the winner gets a trip for 2 to Ireland. So, yeah.
Well, if anybody you know wins that trip, I recommend the month of September or the month of April or May. After that, it's a crapshoot.
Okay, that's good. That's good information. Very good information. Because I'm going to win it.
Well, if you do win it, then I hope we can rendezvous for a pint.
Oh, yes. I would love that. Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, my God.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. Okay, now the other thing I need to tell you is that Roland has posted something on the site and says, thanks for the invite, but have a doctor's appointment, so can't make it. And oh, here's our friend. I have to share this. There is Vivek. He says, watching this live on my mobile phone and commenting on an old iPad. So I think you all know that Vivek left the UK and went to back to India, and he's in Bangalore. I hope I've said that correctly, Vivek. I'm learning. In India, they're beginning to go back to the old traditional names for cities rather than the colonial names. So that was a learning I had. So I'm glad you're out there, Vivek. And so what? Can I think of any good news story? I can't actually. Other than I've been playing with this. We talked about that just as you folks came in. I've been playing with setting up a Google form that allows people to register for the Hangout and add their name and email, so that I can actually send a link to come into the green room here to the people that sign up. So I noticed last week that both Roland and Bill had done that, and I'm sure it was because they were wanting to see how does that work. So we're all still experimenting with various ways for people to both find the Hangouts that they're interested in, and to also figure out and get the linkages and so forth so that they can get in and come in. So I've been playing with some of those. So and so my good news story is that somebody actually did fill a form in and show me that it works. So this morning we were going to continue the conversation that we started last time. We were talking about designing your website conversion funnel, and we we explored exactly what that means, whether it's similar to a sales funnel or whatever. And we began by reminding ourselves and everybody else that it's important to begin when we're creating a new website, to begin with knowing what the purpose of that website is, and knowing what we want the visitors to do, being really, really clear about that. So then we went into a discussion of the awareness. The funnel, by the way, just by way of review, begins with awareness and moves down to interest, then desire, then action. And Paul added something that I thought was really worthy of adding, and that was echo. So we did talk about the awareness. How do we make that happen? How do we find out how people find us? Where do they come from? And to try to get some sense of where they are. And are they the do-it-yourself type? Are they the do-it-with-me type? Or are they the do-it-for-you type? And I have to say that I really used that idea. And this week I went in and changed my website considerably as a result of our conversation we had last week. So for me, it was very helpful. So then after awareness, we talked about the interest, making sure that we have a headline that grabs people's attention, and providing some content that is of interest, something that keeps people, keeps their interest up and keeps them coming back. And then we also talked about the whole concept of opt-in, and whether that part of that interest piece was to get people to opt into our content on a regular basis, etc. So that's just a very, very quick and dirty analysis of or summary, I guess would be a better word, of what we talked about last time. So this time it would be a really good idea for us to move into the desire, that desire stage. So my research talked about recognizing what and being able to state what problem you can solve. And to be able to find some way to make them want the solution that you're providing. So, I think I wrote down something to the effect of being really clear about what benefits, being really, really clear about what benefits the visitor would get. And of course, just a reminder that whenever we're creating a website, we have to speak to and speak of and in the language of the visitor, rather than focusing on who we are and what we do. So now, before I ask everybody how they relate to that, here is a note from Vivek. I just pull that up on the screen. Thanks for the mention. A bit of good news from me. One of my YouTube videos is now part of the official Google Help videos. I'll post the link later when I get back on my laptop. So now I am officially a Google Help hero. Yay, Vivek! Whoa, that is awesome. So isn't it great that I can just take that comment when there's somebody out there commenting and just bring it onto the screen so everybody can see it? Don't you just love it? Yeah. So, okay, let's get back to the business at hand here. So, what about that desire? What kinds of things do we do to to get that focus on the problems that we solve for the visitor. Anybody?
I'll shoot for it. The number one thing is finding what the pain points are. And once we find that, then we can really address what's happening now. One of the things that I tapped into a number of years ago is a book called Desperate Buyers Only. Might be a bit dated now, but it's when you're looking to really help people, it's to find the things that are causing them the most pain, the most grief, that they want an instant, immediate, if not sooner, solution to. And so that's one really good starting point.
So finding and discovering what people's pain points are.
Yep.
Is not so easy, is it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not always. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes we can visualize if we're part of that client group, or if we're part of that group, we can visualize what our own pain points are. But then we make assumptions, don't we, about what their pain points might be.
Well, we have to start with, and then afterwards it's doing research. And I'm willing to bet that Jay has a lot of input on that, and Paul as well.
Mm-hmm.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah, please do.
Nathan, when you're referring to pain points, are you referring to placing those pain points on the landing page?
It would be something to use on the landing page. I've actually done it myself. And
so, like, are you suffering from headaches, or are you not getting what you want, kind of thing?
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, like with my own landing page for writing, I mean, one of the things is like writing is too hard. It's too difficult. It takes too much time. I would love to be able to write, but I stink at it. My grammar sucks. All these different things, which are legitimate pain points, and addressing them and saying, okay, here's a solution to that. Or one solution, yeah.
Do you think it would be possible? I think it's a great point. I somewhat disagree with having pain points. No, I disagree with having pain points on a landing page or on a website, because the reason why is I always like to try to put a positive spin on things. So instead of saying, do you suffer from, like, it would be in a bullet point, learn how to stop your headaches by doing this meditation method kind of thing, right? Versus, like, because no one wants to be reminded of pain points, but they want to know, and I think also because we live in this digital age of where we need everything instantly, I think we need to address that, where, cure your headache, by using these 3 meditation methods. In this guide, we will help you. You will learn how to, sit still, turn off all sound, and be able to relieve your headache, kind of thing. So, so I think it's very valid to discover the pain points. Yeah. But I think to publish them, I think trying to put a positive spin on it, it would perhaps entice people to take more action and sign up, or take action as to whatever the action is. So now, obviously, that's depends on the niche, right? Because no two niches are the same.
True.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, from a writing perspective, I keep running into the negatives rather than the positives, and more often than not, that's what keeps showing up. And so I found, well, it's a kind of thing, and you have a valid point, a really valid point, because one of the things that you reminded me of, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's right. Maybe I should create 2 sales letters and do some A/B testing to see which one converts better, which I didn't think of, and you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I mean, to put it into your own perspective, when you were working on your conference and ending the war of suffering, right? So
it was how to end your suffering, and it's actually a very popular topic among spiritual teachers. They literally use the same or something very similar to the title that I used as well.
Yeah, so
literally books on.
Yeah, it's putting a positive spin on something that's negative, right? So, and I've always tried to do that in my own
Fair enough.
content in my own writing. Even when I'm writing about scam reviews, or writing about something that is a total blatant scam, I try to put that positive spin on it. So I guess it's the Libra in me.
Could be.
Yeah. Well, and from a coaching perspective, I have found that using terminology that's problem-based or pain-based, a lot of people find it difficult to admit they have a problem. So when you formulate it in that kind of a language, they run the other way.
Nobody likes to be vulnerable.
No, and however, it becomes so. I mean, you have to speak about the reality that people in the niche that you're working with. You have to speak about their reality in some way without it sounding like, oh God, you've got a big problem. So I was just going to share what Roland is out there adding comments as well. You focus on pain points while devising solutions in CTAs. So yeah, you got to know what the pain points are, but you may not necessarily want to express them as pain points. That's a good distinction, right? Wow.
I think a good practice, and I just thought of this, having a good practice lesson would be to build a landing page, and the caveat or the thing that you're trying to sell is the glass half full. Write a landing page about how you can end up with a glass half full instead of a glass half empty.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Do you suffer from learn how to have your glass half full, by using these 3 points, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I put in my?
Please do. Yeah.
My 2 cent worth. We don't say cents here. We say cent. Approach that is example with my techie travel bit site. If I see a product that I'm really jazzed about, I will take that product and work it backwards. Product is the solution. So I'll take a product like problems I've had is traveling to the States and switching phones and SIM cards and all that. So there's the problem. And because I was so finding an answer to that problem, I did a lot of research. I found the answer, and the answer on as well as a couple other different products. So I was able to turn that problem into a solution. So that's kind of how I approach it. I take the end result, and then I work backwards to create a problem around it and say, okay, this is what's going to solve your problem.
Oh, really? So now we have another comment here. I haven't read it yet, so I'll just bring it up. Vivek says we need to be more than just a quick fix relief for pain points. If we're not careful, we risk being treated like loo paper. We want loo paper only when we need to clean up.
Oh, my mind wants to go so sideways on that one.
Yeah, so loo paper.
No,
it's called loos on this side of the planet.
Oh, so that's a rather interesting place to go, but I'm not going to go there either. So here's another comment from Barbara. Barbara is out there as well. Can you read this comment? I'm not sure if I'm in the right place to enter them. Yes, Barbara, I can read your comment. So this is cool. We're getting being able to sort of help people do some work outside. Here's another comment from Roland. People are well aware of their problems, to be seeking solutions. You must show the shortest route to equitable relief by educating.
So I have a couple of comments on this.
Please do.
One is people's problems, as they see them, are often not problems, but symptoms. And so you have to be able to get them to recognize that their symptoms, what they think are problems, are really just symptoms of something that you're able to fix. And I like stories, very quick, short stories, just about something that happened, so that they can relate to it and see, oh, you know, I thought my problem was that I wasn't getting a big enough return on all of the things I was doing with my customers, and my problem really is that I'm suffering a huge amount of turnover in my sales force. So what I thought was the problem isn't really it. And if you can tell a little story that includes the resolve of that, and it's preferable if it's a true story and comes from someone that you participated in this action, I think people are able to identify with that pretty quickly.
So demonstrate the solution through a story.
Yeah.
That people can relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I always struggle with that a little bit, because
yeah, it's not easy.
Well, I struggle with it because of the whole confidentiality piece. I promise my clients that I don't speak about them or their issues or anything in any way. So the best I can do on my website is to invite them to give me a testimonial and let them say whatever it is that they want to say. So, I mean, I guess I could create a hypothetical story, but that becomes even more difficult for me. So I think it depends. I mean, and somebody has already said, a lot of this really does depend on the niche that we work in and the way that we're able to do. Many people are very used to saying, I can't write, or I've got writer's block, or whatever. It seems to be a very safe thing to say. But some of the issues that come up in coaching are not nearly as safe to say. Roland is saying, good point, Paul. People are often dealing with the results from the problem and not the actual cause. Right. Who's that? Can you say something like a number of my clients? Yeah, I guess I would have to generalize, that's for sure. It would, yeah. But when it's a generalization, it's not quite as poignant, I guess, as a real story, for sure. Oh.
Do you think we're overanalyzing this?
Because
I was thinking about my list, my opt-in series, and probably one of the most popular. I have 3 on one website, and they come in a variety of different times, formats, and whatnot. You know, one is slides up from the bottom, and there's just a little stripe on the bottom. One is on the bottom right, and one is a light box pop-up, all that come at different points and stuff. So between those 3, the one that is actually the most popular is the one that is the least intrusive and the least amount of words. And it's I don't even remember the wording, but it's basically get in front of the line as to when my content comes out. So that, and the other 2 are a list about building a website that makes $300 a day. So it's interesting, you know, and really does make, you know, that amount of sales, right? So so it's interesting. It's this little tiny stripe, green stripe, that just says, you know, get in the front of the line to read my content first. It's basically a newsletter subscription to be notified when a new post shows up on that particular site, right? And it pumps them into a lesson series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's interesting, you know, because, you know, I think landing pages are great for the purpose of opt-ins and stuff, but I think, you know, it's, if you're going to overanalyze, you're gonna end up with, was it analysis paralysis, and you're just like, well, you know, always searching for that perfect, you know, opt-in, those perfect words. And I think you just need to get out and do it, and then make changes ad hoc, you know, as you go.
I agree with you, Jay. Actually, that was the topic that came up a few days ago with one of my clients, to do with writing her book, and she keeps looking for more and more validation and more stuff that she needs to learn. And then one time when we were talking, she told me about some stuff and the thousands of people that she's worked with, and I said, thousands? Then why in heaven's name are you looking for more information? You have everything you need now. Mm-hmm. And then she told me more about, she told me some stuff that she had been doing. I'm going, wait a second. Hasn't anyone ever told you that you're good enough?
Yeah.
And actually, the reality to that question was no. And it astonished me, with all her work and all her abilities, that nobody had ever said to her, you're good enough as you are. You don't need anything else.
People have an inherent fear of being judged online by the stuff that we write. Yeah. And I think that's how a lot of people get this author, was it writer's block?
Writer's block, sure.
Like, oh, you know, I mean, grammatically it's going to be incorrect or something, you know.
Sure.
And, you know, and especially if you have a comment section on the site, right? You know, nobody wants to be publicly humiliated or publicly shamed, so.
Agreed.
You know.
Well, and I have a little story of a client as well. I've actually seen it in more than one client. When they sort of are thinking about wanting to start a business or be a solopreneur or whatever, their inclination is, oh, I don't know enough. I have to go out and take another course. And it becomes almost like a displacement activity. I'll take that course so that I don't have to actually get down to work and do it.
Absolutely agreed.
I stumbled on that so many times. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a scary thing for some people to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do it. And I don't know how to do all these things, but I'll learn it as I go. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right on there, because I know myself, like I've been a member of WA for a number of years now, and in the early days, you just keep churning over, learning more, and you spend so much time reading and your head around concepts and strategies that you don't actually sit down and do anything. So that at the end of the week, you say, okay, well, my website's still not done. I haven't written any content. I don't have this. I don't have that. But it's almost as if it makes you feel better. I did work on it, but you actually really didn't.
Yeah, right.
I think it's like this. It's like a hurdle that you can't quite jump over. You have to kind of push through that, because a lot of it's based on fear, and you're afraid to maybe. I've been trying to work on the footer for months now. I just left it aside and did other stuff. I know I'll get to it. Those things I have to plug through. I know I have to fix it, and I'll get to it some point. But right now it's a hurdle I can't jump yet.
When I was a kid working in my father's store, this a long time ago now, at one point there was the round to it phase. When we were literally selling charms and necklaces, when I get around to it, so you get this round piece of silver metal with the word to it, TUIT. When I get around to it, you know, So it's an ongoing joke for quite a while, but it's the same thing being repeated here.
That would sell. I'm sorry to interrupt. That would sell really well on Etsy.
Yeah.
It really would.
Okay, Jade, let's do a JV on it and make it happen. What do you say?
So I just want to share, Barbara is out there, and she said, first of all, I think back when we were talking about taking yet more courses and never really getting around to it, she said, sounds like me. And then she added another piece that said lack of confidence. And this is true. I mean, how do and as a coach, how do we sort of help people to add to their confidence level? Yeah.
So sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to go back to what Jay said, because the three things that are popping up on your website, Jay, are aimed at people who are in different stages of the buy, though, aren't they? Like the people who are just sort of are tentative, you want to bring them on board. And I think that's why that particular one draws the most, because there's the least amount of commitment there. But the others, you're looking for people who are ready to jump and to proceed. So you've effectively put the other part of want that's so important is the now portion. You know, if there's lots of people that want things, but we need people who want to do it now so that we can take the action forward to the buy. So I like the way that's designed.
Yeah, good point. And of those other two opt-in series, the one which both say $300 a day, the one that is the least obtrusive and the least amount of words is the more popular one, you know, so which is kind of defeating everything that we're talking about here today. You know, I'm just kidding out that last part, of course, but something about lack of confidence. I had a client that I was recommending to them that we do an email, 2 emails to lost clients. So clients who were once customers, and I called it a "We Want You Back" campaign. So it was a list of 1,000 people who were once customers of this business, and I said, let's send 2 emails, one right at the beginning of this kind of time period, and then the second one during the middle of this time period. And the email was saying, we want you back as a customer. We're going to give you 30% off of your, you know, if you book your service between these dates and have that service done between these dates, we'll give you 30% off. And my client had a fear of people complaining, people unsubscribing, and the price point of the service is anywhere between like a $200 to $300 service. Between those 2 emails to 1,000 people, they sold $6,000 worth of sales with that 30% off. You know, and he's like, Jay, you were totally right, man. I should you know, not be so scared of sending these emails out. You know, so you'd be surprised how many people wanted that, you know, but they didn't really know it. And these are lost customers. These were customers who were no longer regular customers with them. So it was really, and so now the other cool thing is, as a result of those people who were brought back as like one-time services, they'll probably end up being recurring services, because they have a one-time service and they have a recurring service. So most of these were one-time services, a few were recurring, but that'll probably end up being more recurring. And this is a low season for this client of mine. So, you know, it just goes to show you that you don't need to be scared to send people saying, give me money. You know, so.
You point out something that I wrestle with a lot as well, because once you work with a client for X period of time, quite often, like it feels like a one-time thing. And I remember, it's quite a while ago now, going back to all my former clients and asking them for some feedback on you know, some challenges and so forth. And literally, I mean, probably 85% of them responded with some really good material. But yeah, it's when you have a one-time business, it's very difficult. So I'm looking at
So
Barbara.
little Ann, while you're looking, that's what Echo is all about.
Yes, I know. Barbara says, was he actually getting complaints from customers, or was that a fear? No, he did. I think it was just a fear. Yeah. So we've got.
I have a quick question, Paul. Paul, do you think there is a psychological difference between calling a client or a customer? Do you think that does a client sound more expensive than a customer?
I think a lot of it depends on the business.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the higher end you go, client usually is a term that is considered in that space, whatever it is, and lower end is often customers. You know, so I think it just depends on what space you're in, and it also, if you could. Depends on how much information you have in your customer, because they may want to be called a client rather than a customer as well. But that's usually after you've have enough information, then you've already got them on board. So it's difficult to do in the beginning. Sometimes a catch is whatever business they're in. So if you look at, say, on LinkedIn, and they refer to people that they work with as clients, then that's the language that you would use with them.
Yeah.
So just, you know.
Okay, good to know. I'm thinking of calling the people who are part of my course my patients.
Yeah.
Because I'm teaching them and helping them and curing them.
I'm looking forward to the new YouTube channel, Dr. J. Does house calls.
Well, but now in my work, I would never refer to somebody as a customer, ever.
Why?
I don't know. Yeah,
Can
I go
it
ahead.
makes sense,
For a
Lola.
second.
It does.
No,
It makes
because,
perfect sense.
There's an implication there when I'm thinking about customer versus client. A client is, to me, a person that I am doing something for. I'm providing a service to. Whereas a customer is a customer who is buying something. So it's almost, so when you think about it like that, I would almost prefer to think of people as clients as opposed to customers, because customers makes you think that if I called someone a customer, they may think, oh, she's expecting me to buy something. The role of a customer is someone who buys something, as opposed to a client who is hiring you for a service that you're going to.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay, I'm thinking maybe instead of patients, although I do like the patient angle.
We missed that
The
word.
Dr. J thing.
Did anybody?
Sorry?
No, Alana, can you say I missed what you recommended? You cut out there.
Okay. Client versus customer.
The part where you said, Jay, you should do this.
Oh yeah, so I was thinking, Jay, maybe you think of the people on your course as members as opposed to patients. Yeah. Although I do like the patients and the whole Dr. J thing.
Yeah. No, they are members right now. They are considered members. But yeah, the patient. I just thought it'd be a funny little spin on it, right? So.
I like it though, and I think there was a DJ called Dr. J. I seem to recall a Dr. J.
I think he was
DJ.
a basketball player.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure there's Dr. J's out there.
So Barbara has basically made that distinction as well. Customer is buying a product. A client is service orientation. Yeah. So just before we're getting pretty close to our end today, so the last piece is action. How, getting the person to sign up, to buy, and to understand what happens next. Quite often, people are unclear as to what to expect, what happens next. So that's all part of the action piece. And I mean, we have touched on that. I love that that idea that you brought forward, Paul, about the 3 stages. Having something there that appeals to people in each stage of that. I want it now. I want to do something. I just want to stand in the background and lurk, or I want to get engaged, or whatever. There's it seems as though we have to, again, it goes back to understanding our clients or the people we're speaking to. Where are they? And being able to speak to those layers. I think that's really important. But the part that I think a lot of us, and I discovered this in the coaching world, that it is really important to be able to define for the person who is thinking of exploring what happens, what can I expect to happen. And again, that's a little bit goes with the work that I do. Like, people are kind of nervous. They're quite often unable to buy in because they're nervous about I won't be good enough, or there's a lot of fear that goes on there.
Yeah, the inherent fear of being scammed, right?
Well, that too, but also the fear of so what if I start talking to this person and she laughs at me, or she thinks that I'm being stupid, or that my business idea is crappy or stupid. There's a lot of that kind of fear as well.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to address just quickly that final part, that taking action part on the landing page. And you need to ask for people's, you need to ask for whatever it is you're wanting, phone number, call me now, and let's get started, or simply fill in your email and get started right away, and I think it's important to really mention that, the next step is going to happen really quickly. Inside, there's a specific landing page that says build a website in 60 seconds with a video, and it shows building a website in 60 seconds, and it's like, wow, and then the next step is at the bottom there's an email, it says, simply fill in this email to try it out yourself, get started, so there's that instant gratification, because when people buy something that's digital, they want instant gratification. When people buy something that is physical, they want it delivered quickly.
Now.
Yeah, because they have to wait to be able to touch it, right? So there's that, that's why there's Amazon Prime. That's why there's overnight shipping. That's why they're building drones to deliver things to you, is because people want things right away after they buy it. Because you shell out money, we normally expect to have something in return quickly. So the same philosophy carries over in a digital format. So if I'm going to give you something, if it's money, my phone number, my email, I want whatever you're going to give me right away. And I think you need to let people know about that so that it kind of calms them down. It's like, okay, all right, I'm going to get that thing right away. Perfect. And I think that's really important.
Well, but I mean, for my world, nothing happens overnight. So, I mean, if I were to put out there that I can make people feel really confident overnight, that would be a very unrealistic thing for me to say.
But you can even just use a little verbal gymnastics and say, call me now and we'll get started right away, or call me now and we'll request a call back, presently. You
Yeah.
know, something that gives that sense of satisfaction that they're going to get something
Yeah.
relatively soon. You know.
Well, and I like to say, you know, let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat and get to know each other. I mean, that's probably the best place to start.
Yeah.
I'm looking at somebody said, do you have an outline of what coaching session entails? I didn't get the rest of it. Do you want to ask? I think it was Alana.
Yeah, that's me. No, me personally, I'm not really sure what the coaching is all about. It's kind of almost like a new buzzword these days. So I was just wondering if you have an outline on your website of what coaching session with you. Where do you start? What kinds of questions do you ask? Down into a person's psyche to figure out how to direct them in the right way to get to where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something like that.
I do outline what happens in the various levels of service and what goes on, but I don't publish the questions that I ask because they would be different for different people. So, but that's
well, is there like areas that you would talk about? You can say, you know, typical discussions will include previous experience, previous education, that kind of thing.
I usually say I use no, I don't, and that's a good upgrade. So a typical conversation might begin this way.
Yeah, and also some frequently asked questions about, which I guess is a takeoff of what Alana is saying. That's something that came up in my own process, frequently asked questions. And one of the statements is, you know, like an objection that somebody would say to me about what I offer, to say, what you're doing is too expensive. And that's a common objection. And in my particular case, I came up with a response which was based on, well, how do you value your time?
Mm-hmm.
And then reframing it and taking it in a totally different direction, which surprises a lot of people, because many people, when they think about writing a book, do not place a value on the time that they put into it. They just sit down and do it. Mm-hmm. But if they were to place the value on it as to what they actually charge per hour and think of it during the time that they write the book, then it takes on an entirely different thing.
I'm sure it does.
And it totally changes the experience for the person at hand. So frequently I ask questions, like the most common objections you get, and I'm sure you get plenty, the things about fear and all that. But if you start addressing that on your site, it's going to help you with making your sales. Mm-hmm. And will also help with anybody who starts working with you and they come upon some of this stuff after the fact, and you've got that information there. It will save you a lot of time.
Well, as Paul just reminded me by text, I do have the portable business coach. It's right there on the site that asks those questions and gives people a chance to even answer them.
Cool.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, so the whole thing about buying, what about the buying process? Does a person, I mean, how does everybody handle that? Send them to PayPal, put a PayPal button on their site, or how's that normally handled?
Make it as easy and as quick as you can.
Right.
Just that simple. Whatever you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for payment, are you talking about payment?
Yeah.
So, well, what I do is I integrate with a thing called Stripe, so that way I can collect credit card details right on my site, mm-hmm. And which goes into Stripe, and they pay out and whatnot. So it's they just have to go to magicstudios.com/pay, right? And so it's a nice short URL. They put in the dollar amount, they put in their information, whoosh, it's done. Yeah. So, and I built it so that it goes into my FreshBooks. It goes right through Stripe. So it's it works out really well. I think PayPal is great. I love PayPal. I find though that out of every 10 clients, maybe 3 of them had a PayPal account 5 years ago, and they forgot the email, and the credit card that they have on file for that email is expired, and they got, you know, this and that, and it's like, oh, that's why I use Stripe, you know. So it's just easier.
That's brilliant, because at that point, the fewer the options, the less opportunity there is to change their mind. So
yeah,
it's just, hey, it's simple.
Yeah,
you're used to paying with your credit card. Here it is. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah, and then if a client is here in my office and they want to pay, they can either, you know, like they can either use my computer and, you know, I'll just give it to them, or I also have another merchant provider called Square, which has these little readers, right? So you just swipe it and then it's good to go, right? You charge the amount and it's good to go. So again, super easy.
The buying process in my world is not as instant, and maybe it should be. I don't know. Maybe I need to think about that. But usually what happens is that there's a kind of a let's get to know each other and see whether we could work together. And if the decision is to carry on, then I send an invoice.
Yeah, well, I do the same thing.
And they pay in advance.
Right. Yeah, and I do the same thing. And then within that invoice, it says pay your bill here, and then the URL, right, where they can just go ahead and do that.
I see.
Yeah.
Yep, I've done exactly the same thing. And sometimes, depending on the nature of what it is, doing a wire transfer, international wire transfer, if the amounts are large. Because one of the problems that I've run into, I've heard about it many times with PayPal and sometimes with Stripe, is that sometimes they put a freeze on your funds if you're over a certain limit. And I was told that if you want to talk to PayPal directly, that it sometimes happens with Stripe too, and people have to call their banks and do a release and all this.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been using the wire transfer thing as a way to avoid it. The downside is if it comes from a place like Australia, it could take like 3 days to process.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd mention it.
So Nathan, just to let you, like, I assume your PayPal account's been around for more than a year, right? So
yeah, it's been around a good long time, but
okay,
even with that, I've been like, this is something that I encountered many times on the Internet Marketing Super Friends forum and other sites where people were talking about having their accounts frozen. So I actually called them and talked to them about that, and was thinking of doing it again. But if Stripe, like one of the things that I have heard, and this may be useful for you, Lolan, is that many coaches use Stripe as opposed to PayPal. It's something I heard. I forget where I heard it, but it could be useful to you.
Yeah.
Really?
You can actually, if